And there's even other law enforcement agencies out there that we don't always think of. Especially, did y'all realize that New Mexico Pharmacy Board has a certified law enforcement officer? I've worked a case against a pharmacy tech who was stealing drugs from the pharmacy. And we called in the pharmacy board, called in their law enforcement officer to come help with that case. Partnering with other law enforcement agencies. Now, amongst government agencies, there's also the non-law enforcement entities. And this can be anything from like the water department, a great source of information. If you're trying to track down somebody, everybody's got water at their house. They're a great source of information for law enforcement. Child Protective Services, Public Works. There's other government entities that we can partner with to help make our community a better place. So that's the first category, government agencies. Next, we have community members and community groups. People like public leaders, public activists, people within your community who are active in the community. A lot of you sitting right here. And it also includes clubs and civic organizations. Okay, the ELTS is an excellent organization that they love to partner with people to try and make their community a better place. But you have to form that relationship. The third one is nonprofits and service organizations, advocacy groups, religious organizations, churches, educational foundations. Guess what? They might be able to come up with solutions to some of the problems that we're seeing. All too often in that traditional law enforcement concept, we're attacking the symptoms, not the problems. We're typically very reactive as far as law enforcement. We get a call, we react. We have a burglary, we go to the burglary. We have a fight, we go to the fight. We have a domestic, we go to the domestic. We react. But we don't ever address the problem. What's at the root of the problem? What's causing the problem? Why are we seeing this spike in burglaries? Many times we see a spike in burglaries when there's more drugs because people are trying to find more money to buy their drugs, and so we see an increase in property crimes. Sometimes it's just an awareness issue. We had an issue in Artesia where they were doing auto burglaries. They were just going along rattling doors. If they found an empty door, they'd open it and take what was convenient. So we did some public awareness. We went out and said flyers and said, hey, lock your car. It helps. Simple solution. And simply by putting that out, we saw a dramatic decrease in the number of auto burglaries that we were seeing by communicating with our community. Private businesses, places like Walmart or equipment and supply companies, they can be a great partner. A lot of these major corporations, they have built into their policies where they need to help do things to help their community. But you have to form that relationship. And finally, the media. I think the media kind of gets a bad rap, especially when it comes to law enforcement. And that's because we see so much bad press. But you know, if the law enforcement forms a good relationship with their media, all of a sudden they start getting good press. And they can be a great advocate for the law enforcement agency. There again, if they form that relationship. So, if you remember the definition of the community policing, there's two core components to community policing. First is that community partnerships. Going out, meeting your community, knowing who they are, knowing what the resources are that can be there to help you resolve the problems. And the other one is problem solving. I don't stand here and claim to have all the answers. I have a lot of experience, okay? Sorry. I have a lot of experience. I've done a lot of things, but you know what? That doesn't make me the expert in everything. That doesn't grant me copyright on all problem-solving solutions. Brainstorming is a wonderful tool, but in order to brainstorm, guess what? You've got to talk to other people. You've got to get other people involved. You can't do it by yourself. You've got to form those relationships so that you can do problem solving. Now, real quickly, there's 5 different ways to solve a problem. And then I think you'll see it's pretty self-explanatory. You can eliminate the problem entirely. Probably the most optimal, but probably the least realistic. Reduce the number of occurrences. Hey, lock your car door. Auto burglaries went down. We reduced the number of occurrences. Reduce the effects of the harm or the damage. Okay? Put speed bumps in front. That way people aren't driving as fast. That way if they do get in a wreck, at least it's a lower speed collision and we're reducing the harms or the effect of the problem. Improve the handling of the problem. If we have officers that are going out and being very harsh with, say, a rape victim. That rape victim is having a difficult time. They went through something very traumatic. They're going to have a hard time communicating. How much harder is it for them to tell intimate details of this very traumatic situation if the officer is handling the situation poorly. Improve the handling of the situation. Or the fifth one is manipulate the environment. How can you manipulate the environment? Turn the lights on outside so people are less likely to break into your house. Lock the doors. We already mentioned that one. There are other ways that you can manipulate the environment. Put up security systems that help reduce the effect by manipulating the environment. So when you look at all of that, community policing serves one primary purpose. And I didn't mention this earlier when we went through the definition. I did that intentionally. If you remember the definition, it's a long definition. But I think if you were to take out the excerpt of the primary purpose of community policing, it was to give rise to public safety issues. So to give rise to public safety issues, that means we're going to improve the quality of living for the community that we live in. If you feel safer, you're more happy being in a community. If you feel more comfortable in your community, we've improved your quality of life. So as a law enforcement entity, guess what? Part of our job is to improve your quality of life. And if we're not working towards improving your quality of life, then we're missing the mark. We're not doing our job. So does anybody have any questions about any of that? Please. I know.